question.
Thank you, Chairman Dutton. I'm delighted to see that you are trying to make this bill better. I have a few questions for you.
All
Would
right.
you agree, or I know you served on the Public Education Committee for a number of years now. Are you familiar, and I'm assuming you are, that research has proven that there is a higher correlation with academic achievement with smaller class sizes?
Yes, that's why we initially did this, to include grades 1 through 4.
Right.
Based
Correct.
on that research, yeah.
And so students that have the 22-to-1 ratio, they have closer, the teacher has a closer instruction with the students. In other words, she's able to spend more individualized time with students who may have some challenges, correct?
Yeah, that would be the case the smaller the class size.
Right.
You would obviously have that. And
Right.
I know, let me share this with you. I think that's a good idea, but I think the better idea is if we start grouping children and students based on their achievement level, because that, I think, provides an opportunity for teachers to teach the class. But when you have a class, even in size of 1 to 22, if you have some students at one extreme, the other students at another extreme, the teacher has a difficult time a more difficult time, I should say, in trying to get the lesson plan completed.
Right. And so, and your amendment is an attempt to help those low-performing schools or schools to make sure that they keep those smaller class sizes, correct?
Yeah, well, what my amendment tries to do is try to say, let's if we're going to do averaging for classes,
right,
and make sure those students are on the same level in both classes.
Right. And would you agree with me that this would be very vital to those schools that are Title I schools or students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds?
Well, I think that's what I was getting at, because if you group students, or if you do the averaging based on the gifted and talented,
right,
you're going to get one conclusion, or you
Correct.
may get to one conclusion, but if you did it on the basis of kids that were special ed students, let's say, you'd get a different conclusion.
Right. And so we definitely want to make sure that those lower performing schools maintain those small student to teacher ratios, correct?
Well, this bill is about averaging, so that you might have 10 kids in one class and then 30 students in another class, and if you did the average, you'd have 20 students per teacher. Well, that may be possible under this bill, but what the amendment does, it says that you have to be comparing apples to apples,
Yes.
and not apples to oranges to do that.
Well, I think what your amendment does is helps this bill, because as the bill is written, I think that it opens the door for larger class sizes, which would hurt those students in that learning environment where the teacher wouldn't be able to give that individualized attention to those students that perhaps had some learning challenges, correct?
Well, correct, and that's what I was trying to do with the bill, and that's what I was concerned about initially about the bill, that you might take a class of, 10 students in the IR level and 20 students at the GT level. You might get a different conclusion than if you average them out. You might have the right class size, or you may get within the 1 to 22 on the average, but what you have is an inconsistency regarding the achievement level and the functioning of the teacher and
Correct.
the students in that classroom.
Right. Well, thank you, Chairman Dutton. I want to make sure that we can continue to have a great atmosphere where teachers can have smaller class sizes so they can continue to teach. Thank you.
Right, thank you.